What's up, guys? It's TRT77, and I did promise you guys DTT recaps for our team, Culture Tyler Fister, and so here they are. This is not gonna be like our draft games. It's not gonna be like a long ass video with. I mean, there is a layout and stuff, but like, it's not gonna be a long ass video. It's just gonna be us going over the games quickly, just reviewing plays that maybe could have been done differently. This week we are taking on the Banter Babies, and they chose to field Nintago in ORAS, Bobby in Ultra Sun Ultra Moon, Ari in ADV, and Boldknock in Gen 8 Natdex. So I'm gonna kick things off with our Gen 7 game. Our players this week were myself in ORAS, Lambo in ADV, Fist in Gen 8 Natdex, and Delkirby in Ultra Sun Ultra Moon. So Delkirby is playing this game out, the first game we have for you today against Bobby. The matchup on paper, we really, I felt like it was even, but also we had the edge overall, because I feel like they had a very difficult time dealing with Coco, the ground type like Marowak. Like, they did not bring Tornadus, which in this matchup I thought would be something huge, but I'm just going to start jumping into it so we can go, and I'm just going to set this to fast so that we can get over the turns quickly. I will pause on like important turns or something and we can just go over it. As Del does run a setup, Silvally gets the claim charge off, but Bobby does burn him. Maybe something Del could have scouted for, but I think he was more expecting like a Scarf Rotom or something like that. At the same time, the Silvally is just designed to get as much damage early game, but he does unfortunately ST twice here, which even though Leaf Storm was a high roll there, I feel like we could have possibly not made that play. Del first went into Muck, which I didn't understand there because he just reeled the Willows. And here we do, obviously, he just goes back into Tapu Koko and he gets in the Jirachi. Look, based on how he switched it in, that's clearly Scarf Rachi. I don't think there's any other way around it. Rachi does get his first. You're going to see that flinch a lot this game. Spoiler alert. We do get in the Gligar. Del does make the good move here, scouting for the HPIs. Or honestly, even the Leaf Storm would have done a lot. But here he does go into Coco to protect Tangrowth, which is not the first time he'll do that this game. And I'm not sure why he does that here. Because even though Tangrowth is mixed in this game. It's mixed AV. But I'm not sure why he did that. And here he does let Muck get burned over going into Tangrowth. Despite us knowing his 4 moves. Like, I think we went over this pre-game, which was the only threat from Rotom Mode to Tangrowth would have been a Savage Spin out set, since it is one of their designated Z users, or a Trick set. Other than that, it wasn't really a threat outside of being able to Toxic it. But with Will-O-Wisp, I'm not sure why Del chose to give up Muck here, and I feel like this was a misplay for sure. I feel like Muck was important in this game because it did threaten Jirachi, it did threaten pretty much his whole team, honestly, other than maybe other than maybe Marowak, and even that we could just knock off on the switch. But I feel like this was an important play because Muck is all but useless now. I mean, it can still remove items, but it's pretty useless at this point. He does Volt Switch out, and he goes straight Marowak, and we get a little bit lucky. We get the Poison Touch off on Marowak and get rid of the Thick Club. Go into Tangrowth here, but they get Rocks up too. And I feel like Rocks are worse for us in the long run. Del makes a good play here, predicts the Jirachi coming in. Again, I think I would have probably preferred the knockoff. Here, Bobby makes a play I don't understand. Why would you stay in with your one Mon that kills Coco to go for the flinch here? I didn't quite understand that, because if we didn't flinch there and we got the knockoff, I think that might have been just game. Coco just won at that point. It was just a point of not letting Altaria Dragon Dance up, and we had counterplay to that. So yeah, he does go into Marowak here, and Del does for some reason predict the Stone Edge. I'm not sure what that was for, but it doesn't really matter here because it's not like we were doing a whole lot of Marowak, and Marowak is quite speedy to outspeed, and he does outspeed Tangrowth as well. But and he gets rid of the AV. Getting rid of the AV there sucks big time, because now if Ape is special, we will die to a Flamethrower. But sorry guys, I should be marking off these mons off the layout. You know how I am with these things. But yeah, so Marowak goes down. He does go into Infernape here, and Del does go into Gligar. That does a lot, which is not something we expected. But here he doesn't scout for the HP Ice, and Gligar goes down. Again, tough break, but I don't know if there was really I don't think there was really another play to make there, really, because at this point I feel like he did need to preserve Empo a little bit, but maybe Gligar could have been useful in other ways this game. But I think overall, after that, Gligar was not roosting on anything after that. That's the main point. So I don't think this was too much of a bad play. Empo comes in here. He obviously has to scout Chopple. He cannot. Bobby can't get killed by a Scald there. Rotom comes in on Tang, and again, this is a play I don't understand. Del again goes Tapu Koko to defend Tangrowth, which again this is a complete throw in my opinion, because this is the win con. You shouldn't be throwing the win con out here in my opinion. But he does reveal the hidden power. But here is one turn that I think Bobby throws way more than Del this game. Sorry Bobby, you're my homie, but this was a play I really disagree with. The only way that we win this game, the way Del wins this game, is if Coco roosts. If Coco doesn't roost, it's GG. It's already GG. But if Coco does manage to pull off the roost here on a switch, there's actually quite a few chances of Coco being able to win this game. Like, as long as it's not, it's already been revealed to be leftovers Infernape. It would just come down to getting the right knockoff play on not flinching on one turn against Jirachi. So Bobby does switch here into Rotamo, which I completely disagreed with that play. But this is where we could come back into the game, and he does get the Scald off with Coco. Del makes a smart play here. He Calm Minds to reduce the damage to Scald so that he can roost up Coco. And Bobby does go into Jirachi. And now, in this position, Coco's at 54. If it comes back in on a switch, it will be at 37, give or take. No, 54 minus 42, give or take 36 to 37. But here, I feel like the play is always to switch out. The worst thing that can happen is Jirachi, like, Thunder Punches or Thunderbolts Empoleon. I feel like this play is always to switch here, because the only other play is you're not going for the flinch and you're gonna kill Jirachi. But even if you kill Jirachi, if you don't have Coco alive, there's nothing that's gonna kill Infernape. Infernape is gonna rickroll the team. So I feel like the play was always to switch out here. But he does get another flinch, which is again just extremely annoying at this point, to be fair to you. But we do go into Tangrowth. Again, he does. He goes to the Iron Head flinch. Again, we get flinched here, because. But at this point, it doesn't matter as much because Coco is gonna die on switching. So there's no way we beat Infernape at this point, in my opinion. And he goes into Empoleon finally here. Empo does come in, does click the Roar. We do get the Altaria in, and Del makes the right play here. He does click the Ice Beam to get the chip on Altaria. And because we were Shuka, we weren't going to die even if we Dragon Danced. It wasn't a worry. But here, Alt is going to Ice Beam. It's not going to be enough to take out Tangrowth, and Tangrowth's going to take out Alt. But that's pretty much GG at this point, because there's no way to beat Infernape at this point. And Infernape is going to take out all three remaining Mons in quick succession. And that's going to be game 1 to the Banter Babies. Bobby does take the 4-0 win over Del. I feel like there were definitely plays. This game was definitely a lot more winnable. And I feel like there was plays that puzzled me from both sides, in all honesty. I feel like Jirachi, Bobby didn't need to take the risks as much with the Iron Head flinches with Jirachi. I feel like Del, two particular plays hurt Del the most, honestly. It was one, letting Muck get burnt, and 2, not switching out on Jirachi. Any other players, even though you took the damage with Rotamo, Bobby gave you back the turn by switching out Rotamo. Because at that point, I honestly thought the only way we had to get like a Leaf Storm miss, and I was not expecting him to switch out there, because I think that switching out there was a complete throw, because I feel like at that position that was the only way to throw. But GG's, that's going to be the first game. I will be right back with our ORAS game. Jumping into our ORAS game, guys, this is me against Dago. This matchup, honestly, I thought on matchup we should have a huge edge. This is easily one of the best matchups, probably the best matchup we had this week. But Tago is also a very good player, and I was actually quite nervous going into it. And I didn't see Zapdos on team preview, and I was shocked. So my point in this game for me straight up was, Is Chomp scarfed? First thing I have to notice. Is there a surprise scarfer like Rosalia? Is there like a surprise scarfer in here with Metagross? I wouldn't understand Scarf Metagross here, but it's a possibility. And then you have, I doubt Blastoise is Scarf, but either which way, it looks like a very specially defensive team. And that makes a lot of sense considering the number of special attackers we have. But either way, I'm going to jump into it. I led Gren here, and there's no. I'm only going to reveal stuff that was revealed in the game. I've been doing that for all the games, but this is Specs Gren, as you're going to see on later damage. He does lead the Rose. We get the U-turn, which tells me he's actually offensive Rosalia, or fast, or speedy Rosalia, basically, because that U-turn should have never done that much damage from a modest Greninja. He does get the sleep powder on Golbat, which honestly I quite like the fact that it was Golbat that got slept on, because now Heatran can't get sleep powder on. And he does go into Sableye and he knocks us off. And I go Heatran here mainly because I didn't need Heatran's item. It was mainly here to 1v1 Zapdos in most scenarios. And the main thing for me I remember was, like, in my notes I just had Scout for the sneak. And then as soon as this knockoff happened, based on that damage, he is max attack Mega Sableye. And here I'm gonna go for the Will-O-Wisp here for two reasons. One, in this scenario, I don't want to let in Chomp for free. That would be the worst possible play. Two, the worst other case is I burn one of the other four. And three, I could just flash fire myself in front of this thing and then 2-hit KO it with Magma Storm. And at the time, I assumed his worst move to hit me would be knockoff. But he does reveal to be low kick here, which is unfortunate. So I just go for the chip here. We just get some damage off on Sableye. And I'm going to go back into Greninja here as Sableye takes out Heatran. Now, the reason I went into Greninja and not Guard here is obviously because I've seen that he's now got 2 physical attacks. He's probably max attack. I don't want to risk taking the sneak damage. It's too early in the game for me to want to take that sneak damage. And knowing him, he's gonna be forcing the switch here anyway, because he's gonna try to wish this thing back up whenever I go Tangela or Golbat. So I went Greninja here basically to test the waters. I just go for the Dark Pulse here in case he stays in, because I lose nothing from Aromatisse coming in. So Aromatisse comes in here, and the main thing is I can't go into Golbat here, because if I go into Golbat here, he's going to wish up and then Sableye comes in for free. So instead, I make the play to go into Gardevoir here. We trace the Aromavale. He does get the wish off up. And he goes into Metagross, and it goes right according to plan as we get the burn off on Metagross. That was something we discussed extensively while building this team. Really, really, really big moment in the game for us. And I feel like I had my back against the wall to begin the game, but not so much. I feel like I'm more in control now. He does go for the HP Ice, is what I'm assuming, and I'm just gonna U-turn with Gren because I don't think there's a reason for Metagross to stay in there. He goes in Blastoise. I just clicked the Thunderbolt because I assumed he would either stay in or he would try to phase me, or I was just like trying not to go for the read. Like, I was at that point, I feel like I lost nothing by going for the straightforward play. Now, the reason I thought I lost nothing is because if he's Scarf Chomp, I am Prankster sub. So if he's gonna lock into Stone Edge, I can just out-sub the Stone Edges, because eventually he will miss. And he does go for the Toxic, and I'm just like, oof. At this moment, I'm just thinking in my head, how do I lose this game? Because I feel like at this moment, I click Nasty Plot, and this is game. So I'm just thinking, I immediately calced Rosalia. I immediately calced Burnt Bullet Punch. I immediately calced Scarf Stone Edge on Chomp. We did die to Scarf Stone Edge. But right now, being behind a sub and he just clicked Toxic, I'm not worried. My play is straightforward. I'm just going to click Nasty Plot. And he goes into Rosalia, and that kind of shocked me because I'm like, why won't I just Nasty Plot again? And I do, and I think that's pretty much game at this point. So we're just going to take out Rosalia here with the Hidden Power Ice. He goes back into Garchomp, and here I just make the decision to sub in case he's just weird Scarf Toxic. I lost nothing from it. I had so much health and basically just waited for the Stone Edge miss. There, he misses the Stone Edge. And now that's pretty much game. We're just gonna... He is Yachi, but at +4, there's no way Chomp takes that. Well, Thundi is just gonna clean up here. And I'm again, a horrible PokeTuber who won't mark off Mons on the uh, on the layout. Either way, that was this game, guys. We got the 5-0 win, and the week is now 1-1 versus the Babies. And I will be back with our jump into the NatTex game. Jumping into our Gen 8 NatTex game, guys. We have Fist taking on Boldknock of the Babies. This matchup was honestly on their end more than ours. We weren't able to bring Megazam to this matchup. But Glyskor does have a great matchup in this one, and we do have some sets that are not revealed on both sides. So I'm gonna keep it to what does show up in this game. I'm just gonna jump into the game. We do lead the Romo, and he does lead the Mawile, which is Mega Mawile. And we get off the early Will-O-Wisp play, which is huge because now Muck is almost non-factor. But considering we didn't bring bring Megazam, I didn't think they were very big on what Muck was gonna do. We're gonna probably just Klefki's gonna just get the easy spike here. Goes into Boots Bro as we get the Glyskor switch on the Lando double. But yeah, these were the scariest turns for me, honestly, the ice beams, because I was just like, oh god, if we ice beam freezes Klefki. So now we have 2 layers of spikes, even though it's not showing up in the replay for some reason, which has been happening a bunch. And they are ST Landorus. ST Facade, which is actually really good tech considering we could quite easily have burnt this thing. But now Glyskor is able to get an ST up, and we get rid of Slowbro's boots. Honestly, I am not going to lie when I say this, but when I was watching this live, I genuinely thought this play alone just ended the game for them, because I feel like once Slowbro lost his boots, the fact that Lando showed SD, I didn't think it was defog, and that we already had 2 layers. We could easily get a 3rd layer, because it depends on what mons he comes up, but we can easily get 3 layers, and once we get 3 layers, I think ST Glyskor should, in theory, win. Here Fist goes into Klefki. Again, I'm just like, please don't freeze. And here again, obviously, we're going to get up the freest of 3rd layer of spikes. So we have 3 layers of spikes up. He goes back into Landorus, and he's going to try the whole SD games again. So here we go. The SD wars between the 2 ground flyings. Facade actually did a lot there, which credit to the investment to what the guys had on this build. Lando does SD again, but he has lost his leftovers. Here, Klefki is going to get the reflect up and then die, which is actually, honestly, we just needed to sack him on here. And we still got something good out of the turn because of the reflect. Tauros is 100% going to revenge this thing, but he does go into Aromatisse, and Aromatisse gets murdered. He goes back into Muck, and Muck is this no real switch-ins to Tauros here right now, and Tauros is going to pick up the kill on Muck. He goes back into Zera, which takes 25 from the spikes there, so we know that it's not Boots Zera. He doubles into Lando, which here I felt like Fist could have stayed in, perhaps, because we did have the screen, and he could, even if he CC'd, it wasn't the end of the world, but Fist really just wanted to keep Tauros in the back in case stuff went sideways, which I can totally understand. And here, again, he goes into Tauros directly, predicting the SD on Landorus. And again, here, Boldknock has the sack, and he chooses to sack the Aromatisse. Moving on, he does go into Zera here, takes the 50. Here obviously can't stay in because he does threaten the CC, and he's Salakberry on Salakberry on Zera. Here's something I don't particularly understand initially, at least, because they just stay in and keep clicking knockoff, and we're just gonna keep SDing, and this should be game, in all honesty. Like, I don't even think crits threaten us at this point. So I don't know. I'm not sure why this was there. And we have Glyskor getting to +6 here, which should be game. But yeah, he's gonna keep knocking. And finally we do get the knockoff, and we do break the sub. And they reveal the Endeavor. Really nice tech, but I think giving us the +6 was not worth it. Especially considering that Landorus is still not going to kill here. As he goes to the Facade, I assume he's just going for crit at that point. Felt like he could have roosted there, but we do pick up the kill on Landorus. And again, I'm a terrible Poketuber. I did forget to mark off the Mons that died. Either way, goes Mawile here. I don't think here. I don't think Boldknock has another play than to Sucker Punch, and Fist makes the right call and does Roost. It would have been a god tier play if Boldknock called the Roost and click Play Rough, but I think even Play Rough with the investment that Gliscor had to crit. So, irrespective, I think this is now just game, and he does get the Sucker. It does nothing. It does 33, and EQ is gonna take out Mawile, and Slowbro is gonna die as well. So we pick up another 5-0 here in Gen 8 Nat decks, which is really great for us. So we're up 2-1 in the week, and the last game we're gonna have on this recap is gonna be the ADV game, and that is Lambo versus Captain of the Banter Babies, Ari. So I'll jump right into that now, guys. Now for our last game of week 1, guys, we have Lambo versus Ari. Let me just switch these sides really quick. We have Lambo versus Ari, which is our ADV game or Gen 3 game. This is going to be a slightly different layout. I'm going to just, start showing the Mons because this is a non-team preview gen. I'm going to start showing the Mons as they come on the field. Apologies, I'm just going to restart that. But yeah, so they do both lead. Ari leads Quillfish, Lambo leads Flygon, goes straight into Glalie as Ari reads this and goes into Claydol. I'm not sure if he read the Glalie per se, but I felt like he was going to switch out there to preserve Quillfish. Here, Glalie is going to get a spike up, which is really important. Again, the spike's not showing on these interviews, on these replays for some reason, but Quillfish is going to explode here and take take Glalie out with it. Next in, we do have Claydol, and we send out Sableye. So relatively favorable matchup for us so that we can spin block. We do get the knockoff. Remember, knockoff is base 20 power, so it does like nothing in Gen 3. And it's special, while Shadow Ball is physical. And we do get the Spidef drop, which doesn't really matter, but the crit did matter. So we do manage to take out Claydol here, as he then reveals his third mon, that is Dougie. So Dougie is, I assume, just here to trap us in, but there's nothing we really care about. And they reveal to be sub-lefties. Now, we did not expect this set in a million years, because it honestly just doesn't do enough damage to quite a few of our mons. And we're going to go into Flygon here, clearly, as Dougie is not as big of a threat. And they do go into Milotic, and we do get a good chunk off with the EQ here. But now we're going to reveal our tech for the week, which was Screech Flygon. So the point is that we would not have been able to 1v1 a refresh Milotic in any universe. So we were going to Sand Tomb and then Screech it down. The thing is, it was a risky play, because we obviously went off the read that they would not have Ice Beam, and they did not have Ice Beam on the set, but pretty sure they will the next time. But now we have Celebi trapped, and we're going to be able to take out Celebi. Sorry, I didn't put Celebi on here, but we're going to be able to take out Celebi here with 2 hidden power bugs. And real early, we are quite ahead in this game. We're 3 mons, and he goes into Blaziken. Now, I don't understand. There's no Choice Scarf in this gen. And I don't understand the Blaziken play here. And Ari said later that he didn't see the Earthquake, because I think the only time we Earthquaked so far was the Milo switch in. So I guess that is fair. But either way, Flygon, we're gonna go. So when we were prepping for the Endure Blaziken set. And so we did, the play was to Sand Tomb there so that we don't let him Endure to get the Salak range. And but here, clearly not Salak. We do take out Blaziken as well. And at this point, Milotic comes in. We pretty much know this thing's not got Ice Beam based on what happens. So we're just going to Screech here. Does click the Surf. That was the primary reasoning for not thinking that they'd have Ice Beam, because Surf was always a 3-hit KO. And you wouldn't normally expect to see Screech Flygon. So Flygon's going to pick off the Milotic, and here we assume Dougie's gonna kill us, and we're gonna have to kill her. But Dougie does go for the Toxic, which I think was the only move that had to hit us. And we're gonna pick up the 4-0 win in ATV. So we pick up the 3-1 win over the Banter Babies, and the Cult of Tyler Fister are off to a winning start. great week for us overall. Honestly, like I feel like there wasn't. We built really well. I feel like the whole flow started going because we obviously we started a week later than everyone else because the week went by, and I feel like this really got the juices flowing. We're synergizing. We're building well. Next week we do take on Love Your Sanctuary, which won't be easy, but hopefully we'll be able to pick up the dubs. And if we keep the dubs coming, we can always meme the last few weeks, which will be really fun. But that's gonna be it from me, guys. This is TRT77, and this is me signing off.